Hi, welcome back to my story time with Nana. I have a whole new series. This is going to be a long series because it's called These United States of America, and I'm going to be telling stories about every state. I'm getting emails and letters from children all over that are telling me something really cool about their town and in their state. And I can't wait to hear from everybody because I'd like to have all kinds of stories to choose from. Now, this particular story, I didn't know anybody, and I had to do some investigating and wait till you hear what I found out. Let's begin. Alabama. Now, first, a little bit about the state of Alabama. It was the 22nd state to join the Union. It's known as the Heart of Dixie or the Cotton State. It's located in the southeastern part of the United States, and its capital is Montgomery. The state bird is the yellow hammer, and the camellia is the state flower. You should look those up. There are a lot of neat things in Alabama. Now, like I said, I didn't know anyone in Alabama, so I contacted a small town called Magnolia Springs. What initially caught my eye about this town is that Magnolia Springs Magnolia River runs right through the town, and one of their mail carriers delivers mail on a boat. That's right, by a boat. And they've been doing it for over 100 years. Now, not the same mailman, of course, but still, 100 years is a long time to be delivering the mail by boat. I just thought that was the coolest thing. Imagine being a mailman that delivers the mail by boat. So I decided that I would make up a story about that, a mailman that delivered the mail by boat. And I was going to do exactly that until I received an email from the Magnolia Springs Library. I was so impressed with everything they do for the community that I knew I had to make up a story about the Magnolia Springs Library. Now, my story may not be all true, but it's how I imagine Magnolia Springs to be. Here we go. Zachary and his family moved to Magnolia Springs when he was just 7 years old. He was very excited about the move. Their new house was on the Magnolia River, and he had never lived close to water, let alone having a river as his backyard. Zachary and his baby brother Luke shared a bedroom upstairs, right in between his parents and his little sister Amelia's room. His room had two windows, one that faced their neighbor's house and the other looking out to the backyard and the river. Every morning the sun peeked its way into his room until its sunbeams kissed his face, making waking up something special. Not long after they had moved into their new home, Zachary was in the backyard with his father helping him put the finishing touches on a new swing set. "Daddy, this is the best swing set ever," he said, climbing up to the top of the slide. "Watch this." Whee! He slid down so fast he didn't even have time to stop before slipping right off and plopping on his behind. "Wow, that is pretty fast," his daddy laughed. "That must be all the newness. You're going to have to slide down that a lot more to wear out the slickness." Daddy finished the swing set by attaching the glider, and then he and Zachary tried it out. "So, what do you think about our new house?" Daddy asked him. "I think it's great," Zachary answered. "Do you think we can do some exploring around town? Maybe I can make some friends." "I think that sounds like a great idea. Maybe we can all go into town and find a place to have lunch. How does that sound?" "I think it sounds great," Zachary told him. "Hello!" There was a man in a boat on the river waving to Daddy and Zachary. Welcome to the neighborhood. Hi, Zachary answered, jumping out of the glider. Thank you. Zachary and his father walked to the edge of the water. You're welcome. It's so nice to get new neighbors. My name is Mr. Lipscomb. I deliver your mail. From a boat? Zachary asked. Yep. You see your mailbox next to your boathouse? Mr. Lipscomb pointed. Wow, we have a mailman that brings us our mail in a boat, not a truck, Zachary told his father. It sure looks that way, Daddy said, smiling. My name is Mitch, and this is my son, Zachary. Do you have any mail for us today? Indeed I do, Mitch, but it's really for Zachary. Mr. Lipscomb rummaged through his bag and guided his boat to the mailbox. Me? I wonder who would be sending me mail. Well, I think you're going to like this mail, Mr. Lipscomb told him, slipping the mail into the box. Well, I got to get this mail delivered. See you around town. That's if I don't see you on the river. He waved and pulled away. Daddy, this is the coolest place ever. We have a mailman on a boat. I have to agree, that is pretty cool, Daddy said, ruffling his hair. Let's go see what kind of mail Mr. Lipscomb brought. Daddy pulled a postcard out of their mailbox. Hey now, this is a good piece of mail. He handed it to Zachary. Daddy, it's just a postcard from the library. I know, but did you read it? They're having a contest. Zachary read the card. Get your bingo card for the summer reading challenge at the Magnolia Springs Library. I wonder what that means. Well, they're starting their challenge today. Do you want to go? I guess, but how much fun can you have at the library? I mean, you have to be quiet there. Libraries are boring. Well, I suppose we'll find out how boring it is when we go, Daddy answered. Let's go tell your mom that we have plans for this afternoon. Zachary and Daddy raced to the house to see who would be the one to tell Mommy. Zachary won. Mommy, Daddy, Zachary, Amelia, and Luke piled into the car and drove to a small restaurant not far from the library, and they had lunch. And as far as Zachary was concerned, they made the best chicken tenders he had ever eaten before. It was the first time they had been out in town since moving to Magnolia Springs, and if the restaurant was any indication of how happy they were going to be in their new home, then Zachary figured they lived in the best town in the whole wide world. He couldn't wait to get to the library. Oh no, Zachary cried when they pulled into the Magnolia Springs Library parking lot. Do you think there's a fire? There were 2 fire trucks parked in the parking lot. I don't think so, Daddy answered. I've never seen a fire truck working a fire with balloons and streamers tied to it. Look at the front of the library. They're having a party. Daddy parked the car and the family walked past the fire trucks to the front lawn of the library. There were a lot of children running around, and there were booths with books and crafts and cookies and cupcakes. And a lady called out to get everyone's attention. Okay, kiddos, my name is Miss Page. Thank you for stopping by today for our summer reading kickoff. Today we have the fire department here. They're going to give you all a tour of their fire truck and then give you some fire safety tips. After that, we have games. Miss Elida is going to read a story, and then every child will get their bingo card for their summer reading challenge. Doesn't that sound like fun? Yeah, some of the children called out. What was that? I didn't hear you. Yeah! All of the children cried out. That's much better, she smiled. Now let's go check out the fire trucks. Miss Page led the children across the parking lot to the big fire engine, and they learned that their fire station was all volunteer. That meant that when there was an emergency, the volunteers heard a loud siren from the fire station letting them know help was needed. Magnolia Springs had a lot of volunteer firefighters. The children also learned that the biggest engine could hold 1,000 gallons of water. 1,000! But the children's favorite part was when the firefighters showed them how they hooked up to a hydrant and how far the water sprayed. The children learned about fire safety and that the firefighters also helped in bad weather and floods and even accidents. The children were asked to be a good neighbor and know where their fire hydrant was on their street and to get an adult if they saw smoke or anything that just didn't look quite right. Afterwards, the firefighters walked the children back to the library front lawn and they played games and did crafts. And then Miss Elida read a story to the children about a little girl that went to work with her daddy. He was a firefighter in the first fire station in America. It was a great story. After story time, Miss Elida signed the children up for the summer reading challenge and gave each child a reading bingo card. Zachary had never had so much fun at a library. The family loaded back into the car and headed home. So, what did y'all think about your day out? Mommy asked. I thought it was amazing, Amelia said. My favorite part was learning about the firefighters and everything they do in our town. Well, my favorite part was listening to Miss Elida read the story about the little girl who went to work with her daddy at the fire station, Luke called out. How about you, Zachary? What did you like best? Daddy asked. Everything. I ate the best chicken tenders, Zachary told him. I met all of the volunteer firefighters and got to explore their fire engines. I made some friends. One of them lives 2 doors down from us. But I think my favorite thing was the library. What? I thought you said libraries were boring. I know, that's what I thought, but look at this. I got a bingo card from Miss Elida, and Miss Page helped me pick out a book so I can mark off one of my squares. I can't wait to fill in all of my squares. And did you know that the winner of the bingo gets to go on the 4th of July parade? That night, as Mommy tucked the children into bed, Zachary sat up. Oh, Mommy, I love our new home, he told her. We live in the best town ever. Everyone is so nice and there's so much to do here. I wish I could tell the whole world about Magnolia Springs and our library. Mommy gave Zachary a big hug and kissed his forehead and tucked him back into bed. I'm glad you love our new home and town. I love it too. Good night, sweetheart. Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams of library bingo and Magnolia Springs. The end. Wow. Don't you wish you lived in Alabama? Sounds like a great place. Don't forget to share my stories. I can't wait to read my next story for you. It's going to be Alaska. I'm super excited. Thanks so much. Mwah. See you next week.